You might remember a federal judge recently ordered the release of more than 600 ICE detainees, but that release has been delayed, all while the federal government appeals that ruling.
But tracking down where those detainees have been held has been challenging for attorneys and families. They say an ICE website devoted to this doesn't always work. Now an NBC5 investigation pulls back the curtain on where many of these detainees have been held. Here's investigative reporter Bennett Haeberle.
Rodrigo Domingo Hipólito and his fiancée Claudia have been together for 10 years. They're now separated by more than 2,000 miles. You don't have to speak Spanish to understand her heartache. I feel destroyed, she said. Everything is destroyed. Claudia asked not to have her face shown because, while she has a work permit, she is still undocumented. So was Rodrigo.
How long were you in Chicago? How many years?
Yeah, 24 years. I get there May 21st, 2001.
He spoke to me from Mexico, where he's been since early November. Aside from a 2011 traffic case where he pleaded guilty to driving on a suspended license, he has no criminal history. ICE itself deemed him to be a low risk to public safety on this list of more than 600 ICE detainees, who a federal judge ruled earlier this month should be released from ICE custody because their warrantless arrests violated a 2022 consent decree, which came to be after a lawsuit alleged that ICE agents were making vehicle stops and arrests without probable cause. Those releases, however, are now on pause as the government appeals the ruling. Rodrigo is one of an estimated 75 on the list who've already been deported. Throughout the Trump administration's immigration crackdown in Chicago, attorneys and family members have complained that it's been difficult to reach or find those held by ICE. This list provides us with a point-in-time snapshot of where they've been held. An NBC5 Investigates analysis of jail and ICE records found more than 160 people were taken to this ICE detention facility in Baldwin, Michigan. We also found hundreds of others from Chicago were taken to Indiana, Missouri, to at least a half dozen jails in Kentucky, and as far away as Texas, Arizona, and Oklahoma, where Rodrigo says he was taken after spending 6 days at this ICE processing center in Broadview. He described it as cold and overcrowded.
Man, it is crazy. A lot of people, and when I get there, there was like 90 people, 90 guys inside of the little room.
Rodrigo says he spent nearly 2 weeks in an Oklahoma jail before telling a federal judge he'd like to self-deport.
At that point, I was thinking it's the right thing to do, because I don't want to spend more time on the jail because my health, it was not well, so, and then I don't want to spend more time on jail.
His month-long journey in ICE custody, he says, ended with a final stop in Louisiana. He says the conditions at a jail there were just as packed as Broadview, and people got sick. He became upset when talking about the other detainees whose families don't know where they are.
I think outside there is a lot of people, or guys, they need help, because inside a lot of people, they never know if their family knows they are inside.
Yo espero que se puedan cumplir, que él pueda volver.
I hope he can return, she said. The Trump administration's immigration crackdown in Chicago netted more than 3,300 arrests. While initially pitched as a means to address crime, critics and those on the receiving end say it hasn't done so on a grand scale and has instead separated families.
I can see the experience is upsetting for you.
Yeah, man. It's hard because 24 years living there, so now it's a new beginning.
Rodrigo says he's hoping he can eventually apply for a visa and re-enter the U.S. legally. DHS has said some of the worst have been processed through the ICE processing facility in Broadview. Over the past several months, though, we've reported how data shows 70 to 80% of those in ICE custody have no criminal convictions. Attorneys representing those 600 detainees will be back in court next week, arguing for their release. Bennett Haeberle, NBC5 Investigates.